Penelope was most recently diagnosed and is on the autism spectrum. Kim, tell me a little bit about Penelope.
She's the most incredible little girl. She's vibrant and happy and just the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's a privilege to be her grandmother. I wouldn't change who she is or her diagnosis or anything about her. What I want to do is make sure that she's okay for the rest of her life. Till my last breath.
Yeah.
My last breath, I'll take care of her.
Yes. That's not like, oh, we're going to put a Band-Aid on it and she's better. It's like, oh, this is our life now. It changes your family. When Walker, our son Walker, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, we all got type 1 diabetes. We all had to play a role.
1 out of 36 children are diagnosed. So to put that in perspective, 36 kids in the classroom, at least one of them is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. The earlier you get the children the help they need, the better they are when they go off to kindergarten.
This is where advocacy again, and just being really engaged, because patients will come to me, they don't speak up. And if they don't speak up, that test is repeated. But the next thing is that communication really then can speak to the entire care team. We are actually all looking at the same data. I guarantee you a lot of times we come to the better conclusion about what's going on, and we can actually share that information more effectively.
Every day when I get there, when I go to see her, she gets my face and she goes like this.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
Every day.
She's happy to see you.
And then I say, I love you. Just so she knows like she's loved, because she's so loved.
We first opened the doors to Grown 10 years ago. I honestly thought we were just reinventing fast food. But what I didn't realize is this was never just about the food. We were also building community. My name is Shannon Allen, and you're watching Grown Woman Season 2. With every new diagnosis for a child, even though it may feel like a moment, a single moment, the trajectory of this story affects an entire family. Now more than ever, these kinds of conversations are happening around dinner tables, in hospital lobbies, and at schools. Today, my guests are here to do a deep dive into all kinds of issues that affect children, and most specifically those that are on the spectrum. I am honored and privileged to be joined at the Grown table today by Dr. O'Neill Pike, Dr. LaToya Green, and my dear friend, Kim Dasinger. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I want to just jump right in, you guys, because I think this is such a hot topic right now. And it's a very personal topic for us at the table. For anyone that's watching, Kim and I are very good friends. We also work together. She's our director of catering and events here at Grown. And over the past couple of years, her entire life has changed.
Yeah.
Because her granddaughter, Penelope, was most recently diagnosed and is on the autism spectrum. Kim, tell me a little bit about Penelope.
Okay, she's the light of my life. She's the most incredible little girl. She's vibrant and happy and, you know, just the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I know that sounds crazy because I have children of my own, but she,
Grandmas.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be her grandmother. Look at me. It's a privilege to be her grandmother. And when I first found out my daughter was pregnant, I didn't want people to know I was going to be a grandma because, you know, I thought I was too hot to be a grandma. But I realized very quickly, like, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me, that she could be, you know, she was in my life. And she's just really, really a joy to be around. And, you know, I'm
You love her.
I'm lucky and I love her, and I wouldn't change who she is or her diagnosis or anything about her. Mm-hmm. What I want to do is make sure that she's okay for the rest of her life. And that's what I always get nervous about. Like, who's going to take care of her? Who's going to make sure she's okay? Like, when I'm gone, till my last breath.
Yeah.
My last breath, I'll take care of her.
Yes. And I think a lot of families are dealing with something similar. Not exactly what you're dealing with, because this is Penelope's unique story.
Right.
But I'm so grateful to you for sharing your story. I know how much you love PJ and always will.
Yeah.
And I also know that you are a big part of helping support her and her mom, Macy,
Yes.
through this journey. If you could share a little bit about this moment of her diagnosis, when you first found out or heard the words autism or spectrum, how did you feel as her grandmother?
So I knew.
You did?
Before she was diagnosed.
What did you see?
I didn't see her meeting milestones that she should be meeting. You know, not speaking, not making eye contact. She makes eye contact now, but because I'm very like, look at me, I love you. For the first 9 months of her brother's life, she has a brother. She didn't even acknowledge that he existed. So, but I noticed little things. And my daughter's young. She was like 20 when she had her. And it was hard, but it's also, again, it's a gift. And like sometimes when people say, oh my God, she's adorable, and she doesn't say hi back or something, she's nonverbal. They say, like I say, oh, she's got autism, she's not ignoring you. And some people say, oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't think they need to be sorry about it. I think that it's a privilege for me to have her in my life and us to have her, have her in our family. But you can tell. You can tell when a kid's stimming, and then she would start she doesn't like walk on her toes or anything, but she runs around in circles and flaps her hands and those kind of things. So I mean, when you hear it, it hurts your heart. But I also am a resilient human being, and I'm a resilient human being, and I'm also a fighter. So all they had to do was tell me that, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do now. What can I do to help her? What can I do to make her life better?
So in that moment you said you knew before you even had the diagnosis.
Yeah.
But when you were able to take her somewhere, I mean, I think for parents that are at home that may be dealing with something very similar, or even something different, but it is still a new medical diagnosis or behavioral diagnosis, where did you go? Did you go to a pediatrician's office?
So we went to a pediatrician's office, and she has actually a neurologist appointment, because now everything's like telemedicine, so it's hard to like schedule these appointments and get like what level she's on. She goes to speech therapy and she goes to occupational therapy. I don't know if it's helping her because she's young. She's 3. I mean, I guess it's helping her, but for me, I get frustrated and get sometimes discouraged. I don't know what's the best thing. She doesn't do ABA therapy yet, and she's not in school yet. But at the end of the day, putting her in school seems like a tough decision right now.
But she is getting some services.
Yeah, she gets speech and
I think this is a great opportunity for Dr. Green to jump in. So Dr. LaToya Green, I'm so incredibly grateful. This is a whole God wink how Dr. LaToya Green was even here for this episode. I have to say that. Shout out God.
All the time.
And Dr. LaToya, thank you so much for being here. This is your sweet spot. You are in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're getting ready to open up a center for the 1,000 children in Charlotte, North Carolina that do not have the availability currently of getting services all in one place. Tell us a little bit about, when you hear Kim and Penelope's story of early diagnosis, what are the first things that you think about as being an expert in behavioral health?
Well, first I want to tell you, kudos to you, because a lot of parents, they see that and they look past it. It's important to catch them very early on in the early stages and have them tested, have them diagnosed. That diagnosis is the key to the treatment, the therapy, the ABA therapy, the occupational therapy, the speech therapy, all the things that they need. And so for me, the center that I'm getting ready to open in Charlotte, it is designed just for neurodivergent children. We will offer ABA, speech, and occupational therapy all in one center. We're also going to offer a mental health component for the parents to make sure that they have someone to talk to so they can have the help that they need. And it's very important because the earlier you get the children the help they need, the better they are when they go off to kindergarten. They can succeed. They'll be really good, very successful. And it helps them to navigate their own condition the older that they get. Because a lot of times those kids, they all have anxiety. They have a level of depression when they get older, when they start to notice that they're not the same as their peers. And so it's important that you got a hold of that now. So you should pat yourself on the back. Kudos to you. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of times we see in our communities that they're underdiagnosed, they're misdiagnosed, they're getting diagnosed way too late. On average, Black and Latina kids actually get diagnosed 1 to 2 years later than their white peers. And so that puts them behind the curve and they're getting the treatment a little bit too late. So to start that now, it's a big deal. So I know you said that you're not doing the ABA, but when you can get in there, because I know a lot of times ABA, there's a long wait list. There's a long wait list. There's changes in legislation that are impacting that wait list as well. If you're a Medicaid recipient, that makes a difference. All the things are changing. So it's important to, even if you call around and find maybe a center may do in-home therapy, they may come to, if she's in daycare, they may come to the daycare 1 day a week to start the therapy. So definitely look at those options too.
Yeah, that's the next thing we're going to do is have someone come to the house. And she's also going to go to a place here in Miami called Fiddlers, where they do evaluations and see what's the best for her.
And for people that are at home that don't know a lot about autism or even the word neurodivergent, I think it would be so powerful for folks to hear, like, What is ABA therapy? What is occupational therapy? I mean, it sounds like buzzwords. We're hearing about so much about autism in the media, in the mainstream media, and it feels like something that people have attached themselves to, but the numbers are strong. 1 out of 31 children or 1 out of 54 children in America are diagnosed.
It's actually CDC, 1 out of 36 children are diagnosed. So to put that in perspective, 36 kids in the classroom, at least one of them is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
Wow.
720 kids in the school, 20 of them are diagnosed with autism
And those
spectrum
numbers
disorder.
are exponentially greater than they were when we were in elementary school in the 80s.
They've grown a lot, and the reason that they are growing is because there's awareness around it.
Okay.
So people are starting to get help. They're starting to go, and like you notice, the eye contact. My nephew is maybe a year younger. He'll be 2 in November. So a year younger than your granddaughter. And that was one of the first things my sister noticed is that he wasn't making eye contact. And she took him to the pediatrician and they did a little assessment. And she was like, you might be right. And so she sent him to the specialist. So the speech therapy, a lot of the kids, maybe they're nonverbal or they're verbal. They're not saying their words. There's a slight delay. The speech therapy helps them to learn how to do that. And then the OT, which is the occupational therapy, their gross motor skills. For instance, if they're playing like with the train on a track, a lot of the kids can't put the train on the track. And so the more that they go to the therapy, they learn to do that. And eventually they can put the train on the track or the car on the track and it'll just roll. So that's what that's for. And then the ABA is applied behavior analysis. And that teaches the children to self-regulate. It teaches the parents to help the child to self-regulate because some of them, they get upset or some of them, I can't even begin to explain. Some of them have tantrums. They get frustrated.
Because if you can't communicate, that must be extremely frustrating for a child.
It's frustrating for them. And so the ABA helps them to teach to regulate that. What do they do? And I think in some states, if they're under the age of 5 years old, they qualify for up to 40 hours a week.
Wow.
And so the numbers show that when they start that ABA therapy, when they do go off to kindergarten, they are in regular classroom settings with regular kids and they function just like the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's my dream for her.
To find a new normal.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all unique. We all learn differently. I know that there's this idea of neurodivergent is that there's a normal and then there's a non-normal. But the truth is, each and every one of us has a different way of learning. And so Dr. Pike, this is Dr. O'Neill Pike, my dear friend. I mean, I am so incredibly grateful. You literally run Jackson Health Group. You are an absolute expert in the field. And you're welcome to tell your accolades. You've got a lot of letters behind your name. And you've written a new book. And I'd love for everyone to know about your book, but more importantly, to know about your theory. This is your book, Informed and Engaged, Our Journey to Better by Dr. O'Neill Pike. And I think we can all desire and aspire to be doing better, but God Almighty, our healthcare system needs an aspiration to better. Can you weigh in a little bit about what you've seen over the last couple of years in healthcare, and what are some of the missing pieces so that we can try to support families like Kim's?
So first of all, I think Penelope has exactly what she needs in the support from you and her mom and everybody
My entire
else.
family.
Absolutely. And I think that is probably going to be the biggest thing where she can actually tap into the resources that are needed to get her to her best potential, to fulfill that potential. The healthcare system, I think one of the things that you touched on that is really profound is that the numbers aren't really going up. The awareness has gone up. So conversations like these have actually really helped parents to kind of step out of that shadow of being a little bit ashamed of what's going on and actually get their children the help they need and realize that when that happens early on, they can literally achieve their potential very differently than a child that does not tap into that. And so what you're doing now for Penelope is amazing because you're literally charting the course in a way that allows her to fulfill that potential. And so the healthcare infrastructure has really come a long way. Pediatricians are much more aware. I'm in internal medicine. I stay away from children, but I know enough to understand that early diagnosis, early recognition of almost anything in healthcare is going to be the North Star. Right. Once you find it out, and this is you recognizing it, your mom recognizing it, getting Penelope the care that she needed, this is exactly what we need to actually advocate for 100%.
Thank you. And Doc, when you think about the work that you're doing at Jackson, as a hospitalist. I mean, you literally run this hospital.
Well,
Yes,
I'm
hey.
part of the team.
Facts are facts. When you think about how the healthcare system can rise to the challenge for a family with a new diagnosis, that's a significant one. That's not like, oh, we're going to put a Band-Aid on it and she's better. It's like, oh, this is our life now. And I know personally what that feels like as well, not with autism, but with a life-threatening medical condition, autoimmune condition. It changes your family. We used to always say in our house, my husband, Ray, who's your golf buddy and has been by my side, he's a part of our care team, would always say when our son Walker was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, we all got type 1 diabetes. And in fact, we didn't all get type 1 diabetes. Walker's the one that had to prick his finger and do multiple insulin injections a day and have 6-week doctor's appointments for the entirety of his life until there's a cure. But we all had to play a role, whether it was my oldest son, Ray, that would see Walker at school. Walk, you look crazy aggressive right now. Is your blood sugar too high? Shoot me a text. Mom, I think Walker's blood sugar too high. Where are you on campus? Or a grandparent that's staying with us for the weekend. Shan, should he have this? Or if I'm, doing an event, a catering an event with you, and I have to be at the restaurant at 1 a.m. because we've got to load in at 5:30, and Ray's got to get up in the middle of the night and check his blood sugar at 2:30 a.m. We are a part of his care team. So how do you, as a hospitalist and running an organization, how do you see the medical world, the medical community, somewhere like at Jackson, that can be a part of the critical care team for a family like Kim's to support Penelope?
No, great question. So the book that I wrote was the very essence of that. So the first part of that is informed. I think that us as a healthcare community, we need to actually have a better way of informing our patients. We need to actually take away the stigma from a lot of these diseases that are so rampant that we're pulling them out of the shadows. Autism is one of them, right? And so the information that we actually supply has to be not only delivered with care and compassion and empathy, but has to be delivered in a way that's actionable. So what you need to know is, what are your next steps in advocating? What are your avenues to actually help Penelope? The next part of it, though, is what you just touched on, the engagement part. We as people, all of us are people, we say patients, but we are all people here who need to be engaged or have someone who can advocate on our behalf. We have to be engaged in our own health, own that own health. And for a child, obviously as a parent, a grandparent, for an adult, it's you. You've got to advocate or have people around you, a spouse, a friend who can advocate for you. And I have so many stories that I put in the book that talks about good examples of advocacy and when advocacy fails, or when someone stays quiet about something, and staying quiet is never a positive thing. And so that is where it is
I would never stay quiet.
Yes, and I think that is a positive, and I think that's a big positive for us to actually realize that the information we have to provide, we have to deliver it properly. But that engagement piece has to be either you or someone who can advocate adequately on your behalf, and that Walker has that, and that's the beauty of it. Whether it be a friend at school or a brother or a parent or someone who's just randomly walking around, that advocacy is absolutely necessary for all of us. And at some point, we all need it, by the way. All of us need that advocacy. So,
Dr. Green, when you think about what Dr. Pike is saying and what Kim's touched on a little bit, and I know you and I have talked about this personally and swapped stories really. People always say, like, check on your strong friend. What would your suggestion be for Kim as she is a part of the care team, the manager of the care team, supporting her daughter Macy and caregiving for Penelope on this journey? What does Kim need? Because there's so much data around the stress on caregivers.
It is, and that's important to me. That's why I said at my center we were going to make sure that we treat the family as a whole. So to piggyback off of what Dr. Pike said, have that care team, right? It should be you. It should include the pediatrician or the psychologist, whomever did the diagnosis, the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, a social worker, if there's one involved, the case manager, whatever that looks like. That should all be a part of that core care team. And when it comes to you, you need somebody to back you up. Make sure you take some time to yourself. Make sure, what do they call it? CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Absolutely.
That is good to have as a caregiver.
Yeah.
Like even if it's 1 hour a week, get with a therapist and get what you need, because we all check on your strong friends. I
Yeah.
have a friend who is married. She graduated from an Ivy League. Her husband did as well. They have 4 children, and out of those 4 children, one of their kids is on the spectrum. And it is a struggle for them with that one child. They didn't understand how to navigate they didn't understand how to navigate the healthcare system
And she's
for
in
that
public
one
health.
child. She has a master's degree in public health. So that
Wow.
should tell you how fragmented
Oh,
the
yeah,
system
absolutely.
is. You're not failing as a caregiver. The system is failing you.
I agree.
And so you have to make sure to stay strong and to be able to navigate that system. You're taking care of you. You're no good to yourself.
Right.
You're
And
no
I
good
do
to
take
no one
care of
else
myself.
if you're not taking care of yourself. And so to be there for Penelope, just make sure that you have somebody to back you up, get the therapy you need, and establish a core care team, an integrated core care team.
Yeah. I agree.
Because when they're communicating with each other and they're not blowing you up trying to get something for the other, that right there is a lot off.
Right. And I think you're 100% right with that. And sometimes I take her to therapy the majority of the time. My daughter works and she doesn't drive. She suffers from epilepsy, so she can't drive. So I go to therapy, and sometimes I feel like, not that they're not engaging, but when they come out, I want them to give me more because they're going to get the next patient. But I want to hear about what Penelope did today. Or if the speech therapist is taking her right to occupational, she needs to come out and still tell me, hey, Penelope did this today. Penelope did that. Because I want to know what we need to work on. Literally everything that they have at her occupational therapy, I have bought. So what she's using there, she has at home.
Amazing.
The ball she bounces on, she has at home. If she likes a particular toy, I go on Amazon immediately and I buy it. Because to me, it's the most important thing. You know, kids can have toys, kids can have whatever. It's not a big deal. But these toys are the ones that make her feel comfortable and she gets familiar with them. So that when she gets to therapy, she's like, oh, I remember what to do here. So I do all
That's
those
important
things.
too, because a lot of those kids have sensory issues, right?
Yeah.
Like even with their diet, when they eat their food,
She
there's a lot
does.
of food. They're picky eaters. So yeah, it's important to make sure you have the things that they like. And definitely with you want to know what they're doing what she did today in therapy?
Yeah.
Just ask. I just ask.
I asked, don't worry. I was
Just ask.
I brought them pumpkin pie last week. I was like, oh, and how's Penelope? You know.
That always helps.
I was like,
Absolutely.
here's a treat. Here's a treat.
It's great that you're vocal, because I know people that don't speak up. They don't. They have children and they're navigating that path, but they still don't ask questions, and then they come home and they might call me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe we should set up some time with them. Like it
Right.
doesn't. You're the manager of Penelope.
Right.
You hire who you want.
Correct. And who's gonna save her if we don't?
Yeah.
Not that she needs to be saved per se, but
I know what you
I
mean.
worry.
But you have a dream for her future. And I think one of the
Yeah.
things that's so amazing about you, Kim, and I mean, obviously I'm on the outside looking in, but I'm with you when you're frantically driving. You know, I'm on the phone with you when you're frantically driving to therapy, or you're coming from there, or you may have some frustrations or even excitement around some of the things that she's accomplishing and some milestones that she's hitting. One of the things that Kim did recently that was just so impressive to me, and I was in tears. She used ChatGPT to create these basically like coloring pages, but so that Penelope could circle the foods that she wanted to eat because she's nonverbal right now.
So I did
Oh, I'm sorry.
ChatGPT for her coloring book, so
Okay,
she could color
okay.
herself.
Okay,
Because I'm very creative.
you are.
But then what I did is I took pictures of all her favorite items and I made boards, and then I had them laminated. So she's still young and it's hard for her to use, but like she likes baked lays, or she likes strawberries, or she needs this toy or her favorite turtle. So she could do it. Even if she doesn't use them now, I did it so that she has those
I
things.
like that idea.
It's so important.
Is that incredible?
That is incredible.
It
It's
is.
like out of the box thinker. It's like my granddaughter can't communicate with me verbally right now. So let me give her a tool.
Yeah.
So all she has to do is point, and I know what snack she wants, so she doesn't get frustrated.
Right.
Because is that one of your big concerns? You
Yeah,
don't
her-
want her to be frustrated?
Well, her frustration is very, very difficult to see and very hard to navigate. For instance, this has just happened the last couple of days, and yesterday I happened to be babysitting her, and she started throwing herself on the floor, but like doing somersaults, but not. She wasn't doing a somersault. She was literally throwing herself on the floor and like hitting her head, and I did not know what to do. So I did ask ChatGPT.
There you go.
I did, and it said also because she's either doesn't feel good or she's frustrated or she can't communicate. but I think she had a tummy ache.
Mm.
So I just picked her up and I held her and I just like consoled her. And I always talk to her like very quietly and don't get frustrated with her. And she just calmed down. But that's things that you have, like her brother would never do that. I would just tell him like, go away.
Mhm.
But her, you have to like take her. You have to like, when I get there, every day when I get there, when I go to see her, she gets my face and she goes like this.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
Yeah, every day.
She's happy to see you.
And then I say, I love you. Just so she knows like she's loved because she's so loved.
That's amazing. You're already doing all the things.
I'm trying.
You're doing a good
Trying.
job.
Doc, you talked a little bit about the care team being able to be communicating after every visit so that Kim's not tracking down information. What is a tool or suggestion you can give to families that are maybe watching that have a child that's either got ADHD or ADD or autism spectrum disorder to help them corral the information so it's not more work? Like, how can we touch paper once? Because it's a lot managing all these different professionals.
That's important too. So that's a loaded question because if it's a smaller, say it's a larger healthcare system, they probably have electronic medical record.
Okay.
And so they can log into the patient's chart with approval from the parent, the caregiver, the guardian, whomever, and be able to access the recent notes. So that's one way. But if that's not an option, if they don't have that large electronic medical record system, out of your care team, you could always designate someone to be like the team lead. Team lead, and they're the person responsible for sending that documentation every week to whomever needs to be on there. You can sign consent forms to make sure Dr. A has my approval to send this information to Dr. B or to the therapist or whomever. So there's ways around it to implement that and makes it's easier. It's just easier for you.
Right.
Because again, if the speech therapist or the physician doesn't have EMR, but they do, there's no way to get the information. It could just be an email that's sent. But then again, you have to sign consent, right? You also want to make sure it's encrypted. This is probably over everybody's head. But there's a safe way to do it. There's an easier way to do it. So if electronic medical record isn't an option, designate someone on that team. It could be, maybe it's you. You send it every week just to one person, or maybe Macy does it.
Right.
Someone needs to do it. It could be the speech therapist, just whomever, speech therapist, the doctor. Someone should be able to do that for you.
Okay.
And Doc, you have a massive hospital group, so you must have electronic medical records. And is that sharing a big part of what you're doing to make sure that there's transparency across disciplines? You must get autism diagnoses at the hospital all the time.
So our ability to communicate even within systems is such a fractured scenario.
Really?
It is, unfortunately.
I'm shocked to hear that.
So one of the big things that was not done when we started electronic medical record journey many years ago is it's not like we have one. And there's not adequate connectivity. So two of the big ones are Cerner and Epic, okay? They don't talk.
They don't speak to each other.
They don't speak to each other. So there it is. And so while a lot of systems would love to actually share information, the duplication of efforts is rampant because one system
One hand doesn't
know.
talk to the other.
And so I think that this is where advocacy again, and just being really engaged, because patients will come to me in the small clinic that I have now and say, I'm about to order a test, and say, hey, no, it was ordered. But invariably, they don't know.
Right.
Or they don't speak up. And if they don't speak up, that test is repeated. And so you spend money for no good reason. But the next thing is that communication really then can speak to the entire care team to say, if you have 4 or 5 different care members around Penelope or whichever other patient, they can actually see this from a different angle. And if we are actually all looking at the same data, I guarantee you a lot of times we come to the better conclusion about what's going on, and we can actually share that information more effectively. That's gonna get better just because it has to. Our system, for example, is going towards a different electronic medical record, Epic, because it has more interoperability, if you will, to be able to actually just exchange information across the spectrum, across the entire US. But that's one of the things that we don't do very well right now. And we lost the opportunity years and years ago when we actually were just getting started, which was when I actually came into medicine. When I came into medicine back in the early 90s, in school and training, we're still writing in charts. We're still writing.
I told you
You
that
said
last
that,
night.
and charts would get lost.
Charts will get lost. And if a page came out, the page was gone.
It was gone forever.
And so EMR promised a lot of things, and it's much better. Let me be clear. But I want to touch on something else that you said about AI. I'm actually really impressed by how you utilize that. And one of the things that some doctors, we talk about AI and how either patients use it, or I encourage patients to use it because I want you to come with information and actually query me on what's going on.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, this is what I found. I'm either going to validate it or invalidate it with a reason. And I have to explain it to you. I have to give you that information. Right. And so AI is a powerful tool. One of the promises that I think AI has for us is us stop having to think about things that are actually in textbooks, that are just straightforward, and just focus on the compassionate, empathetic side that truly should be physician and nursing and the like. So it takes that piece away where you can actually distill that data into a list of possible diagnoses, and then we can just focus on you, the patient, the person, beyond the patient even.
Do you think that it's able to remove biases and focus solely on statistical data because it is monitoring so much information at once that the average human being could not monitor with that much skill and that much specificity in that short amount of time?
So machine learning is amazing.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan.
Okay.
So am I.
So in a way, what you put in, you kind of get out. But so if I'm putting in a descriptor of a person, now for me as a physician, I think that the ethnic descriptors for patients are not as important as we make it out to be. Because what's Black, what's white, what's Asian, whatever, we're all kind of mixed up in a very different way, right? And so the different mixtures that we have creates that uniqueness about us. And so it's not as important. What's really important is how we individually interact with medication, with food. And you and I have had many conversations about let food be your true medicine, right? Because that's the essence of it. When my patients come to me, I want them to be asking me, what medicine can I take away?
Ah, yes. Not what medicine can I take? What medicine can I take away?
So that's the essence of it. That should be. I did it with my mom. I'm lucky, like I told you, my brother is a doctor. My younger sister is a physician, likewise. And we all talk about with my mom, how can we actually get her to better? My dad, same thing. How can we get without the medicine?
Correct.
So I think that AI, it has a promise of distilling that data and allowing us to actually see what's possible, then pick out from that based on our knowledge now of the person that we are seeing in front of us, and actually come up with a good plan for that person.
Absolutely.
Right?
Individualized healthcare.
Individualized. Because it's all individualized anyway. And we put people and we paint them in this box called a patient.
Right.
But it's a person.
Oh.
And I think that seeing that person beyond the patient is what you are actually also forcing the healthcare infrastructure to do.
Yeah.
Which, listen, when Penelope is much older, I guarantee you she'll look back and she's going to thank her lucky stars that you are her grandmother, for sure. Even though, you don't look like a grandma, but still.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Toya, is that part of the reason, Dr. Green, why you wanted to create a new kind of service
It's
in Charlotte?
all of the reasons.
Tell
all
me.
of the reasons why. Because right before I decided to do this, someone came to me and they wanted to just do a camp. Just a camp, just a summer camp. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
And a camp for kids on the spectrum?
A camp for kids on the spectrum. I'm like, I'm not doing that. It's not big enough for me.
Right.
I like to make impact. I like to make change. So I sat down with some friends and looked over a few things. And so I advocate. And one of the things that I noticed is that all the time that I had been advocating for healthcare, there was a community within the community that we were not advocating for. And that would be that community with IDD. And so for me, it created a different passion, because now I see the gaps. And then I have friends with kids on the spectrum. And then, like I said, my nephew, we found out right after I decided to do the center that he was on the spectrum. So it became even more important to me, because again, it could be, I have to go over here for ABA, over there for occupational therapy, over here for speech. I'm losing my mind. My kids are losing their mind because they don't know how to, participate or play with their sibling. And so I was like, I want to be a hub. I want to offer everything in one location. And I want the siblings to come in and be able to learn how to play with their sibling. I want the parents to be able to have the treatment that they need. And I just want to lift some of the burden.
Yeah, I believe in it.
And your clinic is called Lemonade?
The Lemonade Center, and it's an acronym.
I love it. I'm going to come to see you.
It's an acronym. And
Everybody needs to come. What does the acronym
it's an
stand for?
acronym. So it's learning, which is the L, right? And then the E is empowerment, because we want to empower parents or caregivers to be able to provide or get the care their kids need. And the M is for mental health, LEMO. O is for opportunity. N is for nurturing, right? Nurturing. And then I have to spell it out loud. I'm sorry, y'all. A is for access.
Okay.
And then there's the diversity and development, development really, and then the equity.
Lovely.
And so we want to provide an environment that is inclusive to those children so they can get the help that they need. And then we also want to be able to make sure the parents are empowered to advocate for their children.
Right.
Because it could be that we just service some of the services there and they're still going other places, and that's fine too. But I want to treat the family as a whole.
And so you'll have a speech therapist there. You'll have a nutritionist there.
I
You'll
will
have an
have a
occupational
nutritionist
therapist
there.
there. And then you're also going to be able to do prescriptions in-house.
Our phase 4 is to have a closed door pharmacy for the kids that are receiving medication, because some of them, do have ADHD and they may be on medication. And that's closing another gap because a lot of kids can't get the medicine that they need.
Right.
And so, we're doing medication management there. We'll have a mental health nurse practitioner, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner to be exact. She can do the medication management. And so that actually takes away the visit from the pediatrician. They can literally go to their pediatrician like regular kids for regular well visits, and that's it. And so we're going to do all the things to just make life easier.
You're amazing.
Thank you. You are too.
Cam, you're amazing.
You're a rock star.
Thank you.
Totally. We always say that, right? I'm like, ma'am, you're a rock star. What part of this journey so far with Penelope has inspired you? And how has it increased your appreciation for this amazing, unique, wonderful soul that came into your life? And what is your dream for her for the future?
So, okay, great. So what it's done to me, it's made me more present, especially with her and my grandson. My grandson he's 1, but I say he was a 70-year-old man and he came back reincarnated.
Boss baby.
I'm telling you, he takes care of her, and I don't know how he knows it. I don't know how
He's 1 year old.
He's 1. He'll be 2 in December, the end of December. I don't know how he understands that he needs her to be taken care of. He kisses her. He pats her back. He'll go by her. And now she didn't like him for 9 months. She'll go by and she'll be like,
oh, he's modeling that behavior for her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So she'll do it now, and she never did it. So what I want for her is to be able to be verbal and say, I love you, and be able to play with other kids and interact. Now, before she never would even look at other kids. Now she likes to play with kids. And my dream for her, it's not what you're doing, but it's what I think is important also for kids who have autism and have siblings that are not autistic, is to build a facility where they can come and play and they can interact with kids who have autism. Yeah, play therapy. That's exactly what I want to do.
We're doing that.
When you think about your dream for creating a safe space and a play space for kids that are in this journey,
Yes.
one, what would be some advice that you would give to new families that are recently dealing with a diagnosis? It can feel overwhelming. What is something that, from your experience, that you're at a different place now than you were?
Yeah. To be honest. To be honest. To not, again, hide it, not to be ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all. She's a gift from God, and just go get help or call someone or ask somebody, do you know someone who has autism that you guys can talk to? I can spot a child with autism a mile away now.
Wow.
I can. We have customers who come in here who have kids with autism. I know exactly. And again, Penelope, when you see her, you would never ever think, oh, she's not verbal, she doesn't speak. But it's so important to have, even if you don't have a family, like not everyone has a family who's loving and adoring, that you find friends and you find support, and people understand that autism is not a punishment. It's just who she is. God gave her to us like that, and I'm the proudest grandma in the world.
And Doc, when you hear that with the work that you're doing in your new book that you just wrote, what are some things that resonate with you about the kind of healthcare that you hope the world aspires to achieve? Because it is fragmented, and we haven't even got into what happens when people start losing services because of the government shutdown and what's going to happen with Medicare or the Affordable Care Act or rising prices or diminished services for families in need, marginalized families. When you think about the best case scenario, and obviously what you wrote about in your book, and I'm hoping that everybody will pick this up, people that care about this, because we should all care about it. What are some things that you talked about in your book that you think people really need to understand?
So I think one of the really amazing things about the U.S., we do boast, I think, one of the best healthcares in the world, believe it or not, in many, many ways.
Really?
So if you need expert care in certain things,
You come in here.
you're coming here. What we miss is a simple thing. And over the last maybe 5 decades or so, we have gone from really that aspiration of having a true healthcare system to now having a sick care system. And so what we have is very sophisticated ways of then dealing with the heart when the heart has failed, when the brain has failed. What I aspire and what I hope for us as a country and certainly as a world is to navigate our way back to understanding the source. So one of the stories I write in the book is the old idea about fishing bodies out of the stream downstream and not realizing that we need to be upstream, figuring out why our body is coming downstream in the first place. So one of the things that I really hope for Penelope is for us to really put more money, more effort into research and understanding the very nature of this, so we can actually start to actually intercept earlier, even earlier. So there are things that we never could figure out, certain childhood diseases later on that develop later on in life. And now, my cousin who's a neonatologist right here at University of Miami, they can actually figure out things so much earlier.
Right.
I think we need to get to the point of actually stop treating and start figuring out how to prevent.
So preventative medicine.
Absolutely. And a lot of it really centers around what we eat. We talk about this week in, week out, right? You and I?
We
And
do.
it's one of those things where let food be thy medicine. I want to be that doctor. I started at the bedside in intensive care units and hospital wards where we were just treating with medicines. We're being reactive. We're being, and we treated a lot of patients. We got a lot of patients better. Now I'm on the other side. Now that I've left the hospital from a clinical side, I'm now more administrative. My clinic is on the outpatient setting, trying to figure out in these 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, how can I actually prevent you from going down that pathway now? By guiding you to your activity level, your diet. And by the way, we agree on one thing. We agree on a lot of things, but we agree on one thing, that it's not a diet per se, a specific diet.
Correct.
It's you being intentional about what you put in your body.
I'm 100%
And
with it.
Our biggest problem here in the United States is not meat or being keto or being paleo. It's processed foods.
Absolutely.
It always has been.
Absolutely.
And that's the only absolute, because I tell you, if you do the research, you'll find research about why this diet is the best and you have to follow it. And you'll find another one that's counteracting the exact argument. It's really about processed food. And if you go around the world, the healthiest nations, Japan being one of them, is a
Blue
country
zones.
where the blue zones across the world, that's what it is. They have less processed foods. And so we need to aspire to have food be our medicine and take away some of that medicine from these homes that we have. And that's really what I aspire for.
I would agree with you 1,000,000%. And Penelope, the problem with her and the autism is that she has safe foods that she really likes to eat. She eats fruit and vegetables all day long, but she also likes potato chips and chicken tenders. Not like out chicken tenders, but still not good for
Like
you.
grown organic chicken tenders.
Yes, like that. But it's hard. I don't want her to eat any of that.
Right.
I don't want her to have, she didn't have candy or anything until like maybe 3 months ago. I don't think it's good. I don't agree with it. But again, I also don't want her not to eat. So now we start introducing little foods sneak on her plate. And if she eats it, then we're like, okay, we can take out this and give her this.
Absolutely.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's difficult though, because it's on my mind all the time.
And by the way, part of the reason I put in the subtitle on my book, Our Journey to Better, is literally that.
Yeah.
It's not a destination, because once you get better at something, you're trying to get better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's always the next step. How do you actually improve to the point where you're just getting better each day? How do you actually improve that? You're not competing with anybody else, even in life, right? And Ray and I have many conversations about that, is that your competition is you.
Myself.
And it's how do you get your tribe that you have better, healthier? And a lot of it is about information that you share, and of anything you do is actually being intentional about what you're doing. And so you can actually monitor your progress, monitor what happens when you do this. Because I can guarantee you, Shannon and I eat slightly differently, but we're healthy. And I'll tell you that we have actually been very intentional about what we put in our bodies. And we've talked about it. We've talked about it many times over many meals. But that intentionality is what drives, all right, you know what? I did this for a few months. I don't feel that energy. You shared with me, right, about that. And I think that's the impressive piece about the information that we have in our midst right now. And you sprinkle a little AI in there, and I tell you, I go back to it. I'm telling you.
It's my favorite. I believe in it.
I believe in it likewise.
I do.
I think that it's going to be, I really hope. Now, let me say one thing. It's real quick. I promise. So EMR, when EMR came on, EMR was going to be the promise of the future. It's going to save us from all this charting that we were doing, right? And I had great penmanship, so I was very, reluctant to give up my pen. I'm praying that we don't pervert AI
Right.
into something else.
Correct.
Because it's always possible.
Yes.
But the promise of it is to actually get us to think on a higher level and be more human again, in the sense that we're treating us not as patients, but as people that we are beyond the patient. And so that's a promise I feel there's repeating.
And Dr. Green, what are you thinking? What are your big thoughts and goals for the future for families like Kim's and Penelope specifically?
Before I answer that, can I ask him a question?
Yes.
Sure. All the things that I told you that we were going to do at the center, you as a parent, as a caregiver, what would you like to see?
Great.
The interaction with siblings and being able to.
And that's high on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's important.
It is important.
Because my grandson, I think sometimes he thinks, oh, she doesn't like me. Like, he doesn't understand. You know what I mean? And then I feel terrible for him. But he's, again, little. He doesn't get it. But he does get it. So, yeah, that would be
That's perfect. Because that is one of the things that I think I told you, my friend that has the 4 kids.
Yeah.
The other 3 do not know how to interact with the one. And so I was like, we should, it is.
Horrible.
And it made me think, we have to do something at the center for this.
But
that's why I said I
teachable,
want to
isn't it?
treat.
It's teachable, no?
It is, but
It can
you also
probably feel
want
so
them to know.
isolating.
Yeah, you want them to know how to be able to interact with not just their siblings, but you want other people to know how to interact with them, like on the play therapy, on the playground, right, with regular kids and that type of thing. So that is something that we're looking at doing, and we're going to start with just the siblings in the center. Everybody bring out their brothers and sisters. You can bring out a cousin, a really good, the neighbor across the street, whomever. That's the approach that I do want to take. I'm excited about it because, like I said, I realized I was advocating for a community that had another community inside of it.
Right.
And so it's important for me to start closing gaps in access. I want to make sure that they have the care they need, the resources they need to navigate that fragmented system.
Absolutely.
It's very important to me.
And kids with autism are usually, they're alone by themselves sometimes, like at a playground, because they're not verbal or they're not talking. And I do believe in God, and I do believe she will talk. She babbles all the time. But right now, like, she goes up to kids and then she doesn't have anything to say, and then they're probably like, and then my first reaction is, do I go and pinch the kid? Or
Don't do that.
No, but I just always want her to be able to be engaged and be part of a community, whatever that is. I just want her to be happy.
And how do we teach people to have empathy?
I
Families.
need to know that. I am researching that because I want to know how we can get the community involved and help them to understand. But the thing is, autism is so prevalent now. People know about it. They are aware. Everyone knows someone that's impacted by it. And that makes it a little bit easier to try to figure out an approach to get people involved and engaged. Like 1 in 36 kids in a classroom.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And how important is it for a child that's neurodivergent or is on the spectrum or has ADHD, ADD, any number of the challenges, and I'm sure there are a whole host of other letters that we don't know about or we
There's a
aren't
lot.
addressing that haven't been
Yeah,
diagnosed or
there are
even
a lot.
identified.
Mhm.
Is the goal for them to be in a mainstream classroom, or is the goal for them to be in a classroom that is fully supportive of their unique learning style, or a combination of
It's a
both?
combination of both.
Okay.
I was getting ready to say that.
Okay.
It's a combination of both. And so what the numbers do show is the kids that get all the therapy very early on, early childhood, by the time they get there, about 90% of them are able to function very well in a classroom setting, a normal classroom setting.
That's encouraging.
The others go to, I think I was telling you about the inclusive classrooms. There's inclusion classrooms. And what that is where they take some of the children that are, just as normal as society thinks they are. And then they take the special needs kids, they put them in the same room and they learn together. There's 2 teachers in there. And a lot of times the other kids in the school don't even know that classroom exists, or they don't know that's what's happening in that class.
Right.
You see that a lot more in middle school and high school.
Mhm.
But that's a way too. It's so common now. It's common. Everyone is aware. It's just, how do we get them to not, kids are mean. How do we get them to not be
Well,
mean?
That's what I'm
That's the
talking about.
Adults are
piece.
mean.
Yeah, adults are mean.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't answer that, but I want to know, and I'm looking into it.
Yeah.
And
Doc,
adults are
AI.
actually the worst.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
No,
Doc,
not
I
AI.
want to tap you in because
Yeah, I'll tell you, we model.
Mhm.
And I think that the modeling of empathy, and nowadays you see a lot of meanness. Now, one of the things that has happened with social media is that people can be mean from afar, and it seems like they are.
Keyboard warriors.
Right. I think that we still have to go back to love
I agree.
and actually just show love to our fellow humans. In fact, animals likewise, right?
Operating kindness.
Operating kind, absolutely. I love that.
That was great.
And
I do
think that it's that is what the only thing that can actually combat that, I think, is modeling what we believe the world should look like. Be that world, be that. So having that responsible operating in kindness in perpetuity, and we shouldn't be shaken by an unkind word. A moment or two here and there, but for the most part, we need to actually operate in that kind of kindness. I think that modeling has to be our North Star, that we set an example of what good looks like, what love looks like, and what love looks like for a stranger,
Right.
right? Because it shouldn't, one of the things that I'll tell you real quickly. So one of the data points that I realized is that, we only have about 5% of Black doctors in America. Well, we're about 13% of the population. So there's a gap. And what I've always told people, you don't need to be a Black doctor to be treating a patient. You just need to actually have that level of respect, humanistic respect,
Right.
and love
Just be a
for
good
each.
doctor.
Just be,
Yeah.
and being a good doctor, being a good nurse, being a good person is just looking at you and seeing you,
Right.
and seeing you. And I have had patients who, they look at me and I'm the first person that looks like me who's treating them. And what I need to do is just show them love. Because I'm there to serve. Let me be no.
Is that a part of the
bones about it.
Hippocratic Oath?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Has to be.
You has to be part of it. I'm there to serve you as another human. And my job is to actually figure out, how do I break down whatever barriers you're having internally to get to serve you? And I think that pattern, that modeling, I think it will win. I'm optimistic. We don't have a lot of reason to be optimistic nowadays sometimes.
But we have to believe
But
that
we
love
have
will
to
win.
be. For our children, for our grandchildren,
Yeah.
we have to. We brought them into this world, and we have to actually be optimistic on their behalf. There's no two ways
I
about
also
it.
think, Doc,
Absolutely.
just to piggyback off of what you said, my mom always says, treat people how you would like to be treated. And when I think about Kim and her situation and the folks that you're helping support, the patients and their families, and you, doctor, obviously, you're seeing thousands of patients every single day. I know it's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes because you don't actually know what they're going through. But I think if you have a mindset that you don't know what someone's going through,
Mhm.
you're automatically setting yourself up to be kind.
Absolutely.
And
Exactly.
empathy, kindness, and love, those are going to win every single day of the week. Even if you don't have a child with autism or a loved one that knows someone or has someone in their classroom that has a child that has autism spectrum disorder, if you think about what it would be like to love a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's experiencing challenges and needs support changes everything for you, because we all want our kids to be loved,
Yeah.
and we all want our kids to be appreciated and respected and to be treated with dignity. And Kim, you are modeling what it is to be an unbelievable caregiver for your granddaughter.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so blown away by you and inspired by you on a day-to-day basis.
Me too.
So
was very
keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And doctors, thank you so much for being here, bringing your years of experience and expertise to the party.
I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm so glad I met you both. And I'm going to come
you.
see you. I feel even more empowered, even more ready to make change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank
Awesome,
you.
Kim.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you,
your
Shannon.
story.
Thank
Of course. I
Thank
wouldn't
you
do it
so
any other
much.
way.
Thank you.
Thank you.